Hey everyone. Let's start analyzing this question by looking at the diagram and the question stem, and let's see if we can refrain ourselves from making any unnecessary assumptions and solving the question in the right way. So let's get started. So in this question, it's given that AB, CD, PQ and RS are straight lines, and we need to find out the value of x minus y. So let's draw this diagram once very quickly. A, B, C, D, P, Q, and RS. We know this is angle X and we know this is angle Y. Okay. Now, what should we do next? We know that these are four lines and there are two angles that we can see. But can you make any inference or assumption here? Well, ideally, we should not make any assumptions because though the diagram may seem that from the diagram it may seem that these lines are parallel. I'm sure a lot of you after looking at the diagram must have asked yourself this question that hey, is AB and CD, are these two lines parallel, or are lines PQ and RS, are these two lines they are parallel or not? Okay, because they seem parallel at least in the diagram that is given to us. But in the question stem, we're just told that they are straight lines. So we should just keep it to that and not make an assumption that they are parallel. If you do so, you'll end up making a mistake. Okay, and let me show you how you're going to make a mistake here. Say for example, if you assume that AB and CD are parallel, for example. So they look parallel, so you assume that they are parallel. Now the moment that you assume they are parallel, what you're going to do is you're going to look at this angle X, and then you're going to say, okay, if this is X, then this is also going to be X, and that is because of corresponding angles. Okay, and then you look at the straight line, you see this is X, this is Y, then you end up saying that X plus Y is equal to 180, and that is because of straight line angle. Now this is all because you assumed that A, B and C are parallel, and if you did so, you will get a wrong answer, incorrect answer, and you'll end up and that's I'm sure you must have understood is something which you don't want. So this is incorrect, and we are not going to assume that they are parallel lines. So the main learning here is don't assume they are parallel lines. If you do so, you'll get a different answer. Now, just knowing that this is X, this is Y, and they are straight lines, the only inference that we can make is that if this is X, this will also be X. Now, how can you make that inference? Well, because if we have any two lines which intersect each other, then the opposite angles are always equal. So if this is X, this is X. Say if this is Y, this is Y. Okay. So this is the only basic inference that we can make from the given diagram. Okay. But we don't know the relation between X and Y. Okay, so we'll keeping this in mind, we'll go to step 2 and start analyzing the statement. So the first statement is x equal to 20. Okay, x equal to 20, but we need x minus y. So if this is 20, what is y? Well, we don't know what is y. Since we don't know what is y, statement 1 is not sufficient. So the answer cannot be A or D. Now let's look at the second statement. The second statement is y by 10 is a perfect square which is less than 20. Okay. Again, let me write it down. Perfect square. So y by 10 is a perfect square. So y by 10 could be 1. Y by 10 could be 4. Okay. Y by 10 could be 9. Y by 10 could be 16. Okay, and you'll get different values of y. Here you'll get 10, here you'll get 40, here you'll get 90, and here you'll get 160. So you can see that you are getting 4 different answers here, right? 4 different values of y, not a unique value of y. So obviously, even this statement is not sufficient. And by the way, you could have ignored this statement directly by saying that even if by a chance we are able to figure out y, we'll still not be able to find the value of x. So by default, you could have just discarded it and said simply jump to step 3, which is combining both these statements, right? Now let's combine it. So we know x is 20 and we know y are these 4 values. So even if we combine both of them, we'll get different answers, right? 20 minus 10 is 10, 20 minus 40 is minus 20, then minus 70, minus 140. So you're getting 4 different answers in this case. And that is why you'll say that even after combining, we cannot get the answer, and the correct answer in this case is option E. So I hope this is perfectly clear how you need to solve this question. Those of you who assume that they are parallel, you would have had this equation with you, x plus y is 180, and you might have made a mistake of marking the answer as A. Because if x plus y is 180, x is 20, you might have said, okay, y must be 160. And you must have said, okay, statement 1 is sufficient. Okay. I'm hoping that nobody marked the answer as D, because from statement 2 it's quite obvious you're getting 4 different values, so they'll get 4 different values of x. So that is one thing that you shouldn't have done. But anyway, the learning from this question is look at the diagram and make only those inferences that are possible. Like in this case, these two are equal. Don't go about making assumptions just because a diagram looks and it looks parallel or it looks something else. Okay.